Hi, it's Michael Senoff with Michael Senoff's HardToFindSeminars.com. The title of this interview is called How to Use This Recession to Break Free from Mediocrity and Create the Life of Your Dreams. It's an interview with legendary success coach Jack Canfield. Jack Canfield is the world-renowned motivational speaker and author of The Success Principles, but he's probably best known for co-founding the wildly successful series Chicken Soup for the Soul. And in this interview, he talks about how you can use this recession to discover and hone your unique abilities, take 100% responsibility for your life, and create the life of your dreams. According to Jack, most people get in the habit of waiting for something or something to come along and change their situation, when unfortunately life doesn't work that way. In order to be successful, you have to take charge of the way you respond to the events in your life and change those responses until you get the outcome you desire. And in this audio, you'll hear exactly how to do that. You'll also hear how to sharpen your unique abilities, find a need to fill in this recession, and develop an action plan that works for you. You'll learn the 3 areas we have control over in our life and how to shape them into the cornerstones of success. You'll learn simple exercises to try that will help you celebrate your success and build your self-esteem. You'll learn how to change your behavior so that you're staying positive and using the law of replacement to your advantage. You'll learn why you need to be in a state of relaxation in order to be successful and how to do that, and much, much more. Jack Canfield has helped countless people get from where they are today to where they want to be, and he can help you too. All you have to really do is stay positive, take a good look at yourself and your behavior, and take action. And this audio interview is a great first step. Now let's get going.
Hi, this is Chris Costello, and I've teamed up with Michael Senoff to bring you the world's best health-related interviews. And today we're talking with the amazing Jack Canfield. Thanks for joining us today, Jack.
My pleasure, Chris.
So yours is an amazing story. You came from a modest background and have created a life of extraordinary personal and material wealth. Did you have any inkling your life would be so successful in those early years?
Well, it depends on how far you go back. I mean, I grew up in West Virginia. It was the 48th state when there only were 48 states in terms of its education system. And I wasn't really thinking I was going to become super successful at anything, really. Then I started to have some people believe in me, and I began to think, well, maybe I do have something unique that I can offer and I can be successful. And then I ended up at Harvard on a scholarship. And I had friends with names like Larry Rockefeller, Max Factor III, John Hopkins IV. And, you know, here I was, a poor kid from West Virginia, and these were sons of mega millionaires and really successful people. And I began to believe that maybe I could really make a difference. And so little by little, I just started moving in that direction. But then during the civil rights movement, I became very interested in wanting to make a world that was fair for everybody. So I ended up teaching in an inner-city black school for a couple of years in Chicago. What really catapulted me into my current work was I noticed these kids weren't that motivated. And I'd always been really motivated to want to learn more. And so I thought, how do I motivate these kids? And it was then that I met a man named W. Clement Stone, who was a self-made multimillionaire worth $600 million back in 1968. And I started taking seminars at his foundation and started applying those principles of motivating kids to achieve in my classroom. And pretty soon I was being asked to teach all over the Midwest, to teach teachers how to do this. And eventually one day a principal of the school said, my husband's company needs what you're doing. I said, I've never worked in a company except as a floor sweeper in college at a General Electric plant. I don't know if that's going to really work. And she said, no, they're just big kids in suits. You know how to work with kids. So I went and did this workshop for the company. They loved it, and that's what kind of moved me over into the corporate world. And when we wrote the first Chicken Soup for the Soul book, we intended it to be a bestseller, but had no idea that it would get to where it is today. And we thought we might do one sequel, and here we are, 212 books later. We have 115 million books in print in 47 languages. So we always dream big, but the dream outstripped us by a lot.
There's lots of kids out there right now that are being affected by this economy, and, you know, what would you say to them if they're struggling?
Well, I think, you know, struggling is definitely part of what's going on right now for a lot of people, but basically I teach that you have to take 100% responsibility for your life, and that if you're waiting for someone else to do it for you, if you're waiting for someone to solve the problem, whether it's the new Treasury Secretary Geithner, or it's the guys on Wall Street, or Barack Obama, or your governor in your state, or your boss, or, you know, whatever it is, when we're looking outside of ourselves for the solution, it means we think our life is the result of somebody else's decisions in the past. And so we have to take 100% responsibility. That means giving up all complaining and all blaming. When I had my first interview with W. Clement Stone, he said, do you take 100% responsibility for your life? I said, I think so. He said, it's a yes or no question. And I said, well, I don't know. What does it exactly mean? He said, have you ever blamed anyone for anything? I said, sure. Have you ever complained about anything? I said, sure. He said, then you don't take 100% responsibility. Because when you are really super successful, when you really get the principles of success that will make your life work, you realize everything in your life is up to you. It's your attitude. It's the thoughts you think. You're activating the law of attraction by the images you're holding in your head. You're either worrying and creating negative images, or you're having a positive expectation, expecting the best to happen, and you're creating positive images. Your behavior, what you do and say. Some behaviors will create failure, others will create success. You need to study the attitudes, the beliefs, the thinking patterns, the behaviors of successful people, and you need to adopt those to yourself. So I've spent the last 40-some years doing that and found that you can't wait for other people to make it happen. One of the big things I teach in this kind of economy is you have to become entrepreneurial. We have more people now working in companies they've created as solo entrepreneurs or in small companies of 12 people than we have working in the big multinational companies. We always hear about having so much trouble on TV where they've laid off 4,000 people at Starbucks or 10,000 people at Walmart or whatever. And the reality is that we are able to go out there and find a need and fill it. A good friend of mine, when the first recession hit, he was a salesman for Avery Labels, and his job became very tenuous. While he was almost being laid off, one of the things that happened is someone at a TGIF Fridays restaurant said, could you get Avery to print these labels that we're putting on the food in the refrigerator to label like these vegetables came in on Tuesday, so we want to use those before we use the vegetables that came in on Wednesday. But the problem is, we're writing on them in magic marker. Sometimes they're not erasable. The condensation comes in that erases them. It gets all wet and it runs. Could you get Avery Label to print Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and maybe make them different colors so people that aren't really too bright or that speak English don't know which ones they are? So he went to Avery Label and they said no. So he said, well, I'm going to start printing the labels I buy from them in my garage. And he bought a small printing press. He started printing these. And eventually, after about 10 years, he sold the company for $40 million.
Hi, it's Michael Senoff with HardToFindSeminars.com. Thanks for watching this video. Many of my interviews last 30 minutes, 40 minutes, an hour, sometimes even up to 2.5 hours long. They're actual mini seminars, and you've just listened to a short sample of just one of over 117 hours of exciting, hard-hitting, mind-blowing interviews on how to make money in direct mail, advertising, copywriting. I assure you, there is not a resource anywhere on the internet or on the planet that comes close to the free information I provide at HardToFindSeminars.com. So go right now to HardToFindSeminars.com and you'll have free access to 117 hours of audio interviews with typed word-for-word downloadable transcripts and downloadable MP3 files. Please browse some more of the videos or go right directly to HardToFindSeminars.com. Thanks for watching.